Each morning, real RSI setups are broken down with entry strategies and the technical reasoning behind every trade. This is RSI Trade of the Day with Verified Investing.
Welcome to the RSI Trade of the Day. My name is Benjamin Poole, head trader here at Verified Investing. Thank you so much for joining me on this Wednesday morning. So thank you guys so much for the comments that you guys are leaving in the comments section. I want a huge shout out to Tony. He was saying that he got into OKLO and LVS or another stock, and he had actually took calls and actually took 50% on those particular calls. So congratulations. Thanks for following along. Thanks for commenting on my posts. And there were a couple other people who had commented as well, saying they love the RSI trade of the day. So I really appreciate those comments. Keep them coming. I love to read them. They're pretty awesome. I'm not sure what's going on with my head right there. It seems a little off. Anyways, so I have a good show for you guys today. Stay tuned to the end of this. I'm going to go over a hot stock that's in the news, and it's looking like it's about to top out. You guys don't want to miss this. I'm going to go into SNDK. SNDK, I had mentioned that $167.05 was my entry level, but I was mentioning that it had to get there within the first 15 to 20 minutes, but it didn't get there. However, that support level on SNDK was still a ton of support at $167.05. I was expecting, as soon as it broke this up, the support level, eventually coming back and retesting this upswing trend line. So again, it has downside potential to $105. Look at what's going on with the RSI. You started to downtick a little bit in the RSI. Price action is now going to head a little bit higher. So this is going to put a little bit more deviation in the price action versus the RSI. If we can get back up to around $200, this would be another entry point for SNDK. Okay. So the next stock I'm going to go over is CCJ. This one had government news that the government is now going to be also investing into the uranium play. I'm going to go over the daily time, or the intraday, so the 1 minute chart, and then the daily time frame. And I'm going to show you where the potential is for this upside. So here is CCJ. Look at what happened. So you got this big bounce above $100, and then you had this huge sell-off. The RSI barely budged, meaning that there's still a lot of buyers in CCJ. We actually shorted this at about $105 and then took this for about a $2,000 gainer. And then look what happened. As price action started heading higher, the RSI stayed pretty neutral. And then you had this slow float pretty much all day. And so I've mentioned in the RSI trade of the day, what do we look for if we don't have any more resistance levels? We look for psychological levels. And since the $105 level had already hit, what's the next psychological level that profit takers are likely to step up and take profits? And that was $110. So we waited until the end of the day, even with the RSI heading above the 70, the price action heading higher. We entered a trade at $10.10, pretty much nailing the top. Look at what happened. You had this negative RSI divergence on the intraday time frame, the 1 minute time, into a psychological whole round number of $110, and then we were able to make about $800 on this. We could have taken more, but that was the target that I was looking at. Now let's go to the daily time frame. So what I've done is I've connected this pivot top with this secondary pivot top. So here's where CCJ is telling me it wants to go. It's telling me it wants to go to about $112.50. So for me, I am shorting CCJ at a pierce of $112.50 and waiting for a 3, 4, even as much as a 5% pullback in this stock, being as overextended as it is, all-time highs on the back of some pretty solid news. But eventually that news fades and the profit takers come in and push this price down. What I was looking at in the intraday, it's telling me it still wants to go a little bit higher. MSCI is another stock I'm looking at. Here's the 1 minute time frame. So I'm going to go over the 1 minute time frame and then the daily time frame. The 1 minute time frame shows me what the likelihood is going to happen the following day. So yesterday's price action, Tuesday's price action with the RSI in MSCI is telling me that there's still a lot of buyers that are pushing the ceiling. And as overextended as it gets, the sharper of a pullback it's going to get. So I have a $600 whole round number that I'm looking at. So MSCI, look at this RSI action, stayed really strong all morning into the afternoon. Price action, same thing, had a little bit of a dip. Price consolidation, floated higher, continuation of that up momentum. So that's insinuating, or that's telling you that the buyers are stepping in and pushing the ceiling of this. So here's my shortable level. First entry level would be $598.71 with a stop out at a close above $600 on a 15-minute closing basis. Now, why on a 15-minute closing basis? Because look, your next gap fill in this isn't until $628.34. So if MSCI wants to continue higher, that's where it could get to. Now, it is going to come into a lot of resistance in the $610, $615 in this area. However, this is the next technical gap fill, and so that's where I'd be looking at. Okay, so I've gone over a couple shorts in the market where price action is overly extended to the upside. Now I'm going to go over a couple that are extended to the downside. So price action is pushing this down, and so you're likely to get a bounce. And let's go over the first one, which is QBTS. QBTS and a couple, an IONQ, they're burning through money. With the AI plays and the quantum plays, there will be money rotation in this. But I want you to notice what happened on the intraday time frame. You had this little bit of a bounce on the 28th. So yesterday, it looked like price action was going to continue up. And then all of a sudden at 12:38, you had this big sell candle. Look at what happened to the RSI. It took out this low pivot area. Price action or RSI headed below the 30. And then you had this slow float pretty much the rest of the entire day. As the RSI stayed low, the price action stayed low as well. Go to the daily time frame. Here is where price action is looking to me as if it's going to push it down to $31.06. So this is a great entry point for QBTS on a long play, $31.06. Again, on a 15-minute closing basis, I would stop out of this. The next gap fill lower isn't down until $27.29. So there's a lot of price action that sellers can take advantage of driving this down all the way to this gap fill at $27.29. This is just an intraday play, so you're looking at 2, 3, maybe 4% on the upside. IONQ, same thing. We're going to go ahead and look at the 1 minute time frame. Price action similar to what happened. You got this little bit of a bid, and then at 12:38, it looked as if it was going to take off. It took out a couple pivots, and then what happened? Price action headed lower. You took out this basically this double bottom area. RSI stayed really, really negative. Price action then floated all morning or all afternoon into the closing bell. So my first level for an entry price on a long on IONQ is right here at $55.45. This is it's going to be a pretty key gap fill. Now, if it starts flushing this on a 15-minute closing basis, look to stop out unless you're going to try to dollar cost average into this position, which would be right down all the way to $52.27. For a swing trade, I'm looking at entering $48. Look at this red bar candle. So this was the opening price of this red bar candle. Price action got rejected. As you can see, as price action got close to this area, it got rejected until all of a sudden price just catapulted up above that. So when price action gets back into the $48 level, that is going to be a solid buying opportunity. All right. So let's get into Nvidia. Nvidia is going crazy. It was consolidating about $194, between $194 and $186 for quite an extended period of time. we had some volatility there for a while. And we actually took in my swing trade, my ETF service, we actually took that on a couple shorts. And then we ended up getting out for an 11% gain the last time. Some people were wondering, well, why are we getting out now? And I said, well, Nvidia could continue to pop up. And so we re-entered it. And now it's gone higher than our entry or re-entry. So let's take a look at what happened to Nvidia on the intraday, the 1 minute time frame first. So here's the 1 minute time frame. It was pretty weak in the morning. You had this little bit of a bid and then this small sell-off, but nothing really was going on with Nvidia. And then all of a sudden, once we took out this high pivot at $195, price action just skyrocketed. Look at what happened. It created, or it closed above a pivot, RSI at the 70, and then price action just continued to float. So I actually got into this trade. I was down on this. I dollar cost average in, finally took about $300, not a huge win, but look at what the price action was doing. It was floating higher. The RSI was staying really strong without taking out any high pivots. So I had to get out of it. Now look at where it's trading, $208.08 in the pre-market. Let's go to the daily time frame and see where the likelihood is for a potential pullback. You have this low pivot right here that was created on the 7th of April, 2025. It kissed this level right here, 21st of April. Price action then rejected it, got below it, and then all of a sudden you're into some resistance. So this is a resistance trend line right now. And look at where price action is. It's trading at $208.07. The next psychological level is $210. So anywhere between $209 and $210 is going to be a solid entry point for Nvidia for a short. Now, this isn't a super extended move based on the lows. You're looking at a possible 16, 17% move to the upside. So I would be looking for maybe $3 at max $4 on the downside. This could signal the top of Nvidia if it can try to get above that and then get rejected. The RSI is now starting to get back above the 70 with a little bit of volatility. And so this could signal that Nvidia is about to top out, and that could bring the rest of the semis and the market in. So $210, $209 to $210 would be my shortable level. I'm looking at going short in the live day trading room, kind of like I did yesterday, and same with CCJ. So if you guys want to follow along with us, please join the live day trading room. We can walk you through every trade that we take, give you the exact entry prices, our exact exit prices. We walk you through them, teach you guys how to navigate, and make sure that you guys are profitable with us. So thank you guys so much for joining. Continue to leave the comments. It's really, really appreciated. If you guys are getting something out of this, make sure you're sharing with your friends so they can get the same alpha that you guys are getting free. Doesn't cost anything. It's just something nice that we're giving back to you guys for being supporters of us. And again, we really appreciate you guys. So you want to stay tuned. Gareth Soloway is going to be going live in my trading game plan in less than 2 minutes. You guys don't want to miss this. He's got some great information for you. Could be signaling some tops as well, giving you some divergences in the markets that he's seeing. And you guys want to stay tuned for that. So have a great rest of your day. You guys take care.